that we have produced. I've done some very interesting interviews with researchers that I think belong to the dissident line in American ufology. We even organized the American Academy of Dissident Sciences with Al Bielek to try to spread around all the scientific discoveries that have been suppressed by the Illuminati for more than a century. And so with these interviews, I always gravitate toward researchers or eyewitnesses that have something to say different from the party line. We're going to pull it off the hook. The film on that's called Occult National Socialism or Magic National Shamanism is a panel discussion with Chan Johnson and Al Bielek on the extraterrestrial and celestial roots of Nazism. I mean, the real roots for everything that happened in Germany and all the atrocities perpetrated by the SS and the Nazis lie much, much deeper, actually much, much higher beyond our planet, beyond the shallow causes given to us by the political, economic, financial explanations for the origin of the Second World War, through banking and political conspiracies and so on. The secret societies in Germany, the Thule, the Vril, the Hugin, and many others, were at the forefront of the ideological, how should we say, indoctrination and preparation of the Nazi party and the elite of the SS. And it's a lot more important to know what these societies were standing for than to know what was decided on this or that Nazi party congress at Nuremberg. On top of these secret societies were the main ideologues of the Nazi philosophies. However, these societies were only the agents or the fifth columns, the manipulators, on the level of our planet for the interests of half a dozen alien races, the Pleiadians, the Orions, the Greys, that have been stationed permanently here on Earth and that have been fighting with other alien races for supremacy on the planet. According to Al Bielek, half a dozen alien races were involved with the Germans and the Nazis. Pleiadians joined in to help because they were worried that their Aryan seed on the planet would get wiped if the Germans get too much beaten during the war. So that's why they join in with their technology. So did the Orions, so did the Little Greys and so on. According to the tape, a lot of concentration camp inmates, they wanted people to, according to Al Bielek, the Little Greys wanted people to abduct and experiment on, and Hitler said, you can't touch the Germans here, but take as many as you want from the concentration camps. So a lot of the missing persons from the camps may have ended elsewhere. The aliens on the Germany side that were fighting the aliens on the Allied side, the aliens themselves were subcontracting for the Agarthian faction of the fallen angelic presence on our planet. That Agarthian faction was fighting with the Shambhala faction of possibly this same fallen angelic presence on the planet. Hitler himself was a channel for one of the members of the Giza intelligences, this alien race that lives under the Giza pyramid. The Giza intelligences that had been mortal enemies of the Pleiadians of Billy Meyer, that came to the planet in the 20s and activated a long abandoned complex under the pyramid. And one of them, and in the film we give the name, according to Chan Johnson, a person who has spent a lifetime investigating exactly the secret occult roots of Nazism and the SS. He has a previous lifetime recollection of being a Luftwaffe pilot and falling down in flames, and hence his infatuation with everything German, but he is not a neo-Nazi, definitely not a neo-Nazi. On the contrary, with this film, because sometimes, twice actually I've been accused of being a neo-Nazi. I just got a badge that bans the swastika here, and I'm gonna wear it in the future on all conferences. But with this film, we want to prove that not only, well, the research that we've been doing has nothing to do with neo-Nazism. On the contrary, we would show that the Germans were associated with some of the not very spiritually advanced races in the universe. I mean, even the Pleiadians are not that far advanced. We have to face it. They have had interstellar flight for 120 million years, and they've had no warfare for only 50,000 years, which is just a millisecond from their overall interstellar flight history. I mean, how many cities have they exploded in nuclear wars? How many continents? How many planets? How many stars? The Eye of God in the Lyra constellation was the last star that they exploded 180,000 years ago, or whatever, 100-something thousand years ago, according to their. I mean, they've been vicious, brutal savages on a different level, as much as the Amazonian scalp hunters and man-eaters are, cannibals are. So basically, there were, I mean, the alien presence on the planet was divided in two camps fighting each other, and so were the angelic presences on the planet, of the fallen angelic type. Basically, the Shambhala and the Agartha factions of the Luciferian presence on the planet were fighting each other. But that's how the Luciferian universe operates. Always the left Luciferian hand battles with the right Luciferian hand for the further continuation and furtherance of the illuminated Luciferian ideals.
You're talking about our planet?
And quite many others. The way I understand it, with my personal humble opinion and understanding, but in the Lucifer Rebellion, about a third of the local sector planets took side and are still on that side. So we're talking about several hundred planets in the nearby chunk of our galaxy that took side in the Lucifer Rebellion. According to the Ranch book, I've never been on these planets. I have no personal information. So Hitler himself was a channel. He was a trance channel, because at the end of his speeches he would fall down unconscious. And he had to be carried out of the auditorium. He had nightly visitations, he had ghosts, and so on. I mean, some of these intelligence have been in face-to-face contact with him. In this tape also we talk about the Nazi and the SS elites' exercises in shamanism, witchcraft, and Satanism. The Eagle's Nest Villa had all kinds of drawings on the walls. I mean, the most horrific combination of, how should I call it, sexual and satanic and other aberrational art that one can imagine. A lot of the Nazi involvement with black magic, with Satanism, with shamanism surfaced on the Nuremberg trials, but not a line was put on in the public record. National Socialism, together with communism, fascism, and the in fashion these days, let's call it the New World Orderism, are but the different faces of the same old wolf of the global Illuminism. Trying to accuse somebody of being a neo-Nazi is a very funny word, because what is a Nazi? I mean, the Nazi is the different size of the multifaceted coin that has communism on the other side, that has Illuminism, that has fascism, that has basically the brave New World Order boys.
They create just about every ism there is, actually.
Exactly. This is exactly my point, and I'll talk at length about all the isms that were created. So this is once more the tape that's called Occult National Shamanism, or Magic National Socialism. Then we have another very interesting tape, which is the German viewpoint on the British crop circle. The tape that was produced by Michael Hasseman. In my opinion, this is the best documentary so far about the crop circles. I think I am out of that tape, but if you give me a, what is it called, a rent check, I'll send it in the mail 2 days from now. I just bought some new dubbing decks at home. The film shows a mini disc, an observational orb that zigzags and hovers around the body of a moving Concorde on its maiden flight. Shot that was taken from a chaser plane nearby. And you will see the orb coming down from under the Concorde plane, coming here, up and down, then moving along the windows, peering through the windows. This is at supersonic speed, and then disappearing away. It also shows an observation orb going between the legs of the Apollo module, the Spider, standing on the lunar surface. Probably the saucer boys of the secret government were checking on their lesser developed brothers, the rocket boys, how well they have just landed on the lunar surface. There's also, the footage of the, are these all the, and of course they have a lot of footage on the crop circle, probably the best film that I've seen so far. Then we produced a very interesting new film, The Hollow Earth, or a Nazi, in brackets Illuminati to be exact, underground South Polar city of 2 million people called the New Berlin. Free energy saucer dreadnoughts in low-level demo flights over testing grounds in Germany, 1942-45. ID numbers, insignia, and the pilot's head are clearly visible through the perspex cupola. Panzer turrets and naval artillery turrets were suspended upside down on the underbelly of these craft. Some of them were dreadnought size, and we would see them soon in the presentation.
These drawings are actual photographs.
Photographs. These are all photographs. Also in that film they talk about German World War II space flights with the exo-atmospheric craft, half a dozen craft to the moon, Mars and beyond. Most important is the German secret presence and the colony, the German colony in the South Pole, on the South Pole. Admiral Byrd's expedition in 46-47 to fight the Germans, their unsuccessful expedition. He was beaten back in about 2 weeks, lost most of his planes and retreated in disgrace. And subsequent recent rumors that we've heard about an underground city that is 2 million people strong. The tall, blonde, blue-eyed, Nordic type guys that a lot of contactees have seen behind the scenes in a little grey abduction scenario may be nothing more than the new Supermensch Germans that were genetically engineered by themselves and the other alien and celestial presences on the planet from the South Pole, doing a much broader scale experiments on the whole of the American population. They did these experiments in private labs late last and early this century, in private Illuminati labs. Then they did them in a broader scale in the German concentration camps. I'll be talking about hybrids between humans and animals that the Germans did in the camps, living, walking, breeding hybrids. They were, 50 years ago, they were that advanced. Then, in the late 40s, early 50s, in the South Polar colony, then they did this experiment in a much broader scale, to the point that now they have engineered themselves so much that they live a lot longer than we do. They have bigger capacities, whatever, brain capacity and so on. The question is, how far advanced is their moral development and their spiritual development? This is probably the prototype that the New World Order and the Illuminati would like to impose on us in the future. So now they are repeating the experiment at a high level here in the American society with the little grey abductions. That's my feeling. So this is a very interesting film on the German South Polar presence and on their advanced anti-gravity craft. Then of course we have several other films here. One is the terrestrial component of the alien presence, or 1 century of secret Illuminati projects laundered to the public as the new and ultimate threat, the alien threat. For 1 century or more, the Illuminati super black R&D projects in anti-gravity, space flights, mind control, and human genetic engineering have been very conveniently covered up behind real alien visitations. And the little grays are a good candidate for the cyborgian or biological robot Igors of the underground gulago of government Frankensteinian factories, where genetic research on humans goes full blast, including hybrids with animals. What the Germans did 50 years ago in the concentration camps is done on a much greater scale in the underground cities here. We have another film that is it's upcoming, Free Energy, the Illuminati Anathema. And in that film we would compare German free energy dreadnoughts of World War II that reached the moon and Mars without using a drop of fuel with the Illuminati manufactured Element 115 saucer of Bob Lazar, the gas-guzzling saucer of Bob Lazar that uses an incredibly expensive fuel. The Illuminati and the bankers make sure that in the next and the other centuries to come, of all the other available free energy saucer drives in the universe, they would choose the very few ones that have expensive fuel. And what a more expensive fuel than an Element 115 fuel that is not even found on this planet and has to be brought from far away. In this way they assure you that if you want to drive a saucer, basically you have to give them all your pay for a lifetime in order to be given the privilege to have a private Element 115 Dreamer saucer. At a time when the Germans went to the moon on free energy 50 years ago, and Tesla had a free energy car 80 years ago that ran for 3 years without any problem. John Keely created a free energy 250 horsepower locomotive in the 1860s, 1870s that was pulling trains, and many other free energy devices. The Illuminati reached the moon in the 1890s with free energy. I suspect the drive for their gyroscopic anti-gravity drive in that shell that was fired from the cannon. Then we have another tape about the famous footage, the shuttle footage of these magical ice crystals that, according to NASA, were nothing more than ice crystals. And in that film we would make the analogy between the magical bullet and the magical ice crystals, the cousins of the magical bullet. The government spin controllers rely on magic when they have to explain things like the Kennedy assassination or the secret alien presence in orbit. And in the film we explore the possibility whether these are these really aliens shooting it out at our doorsteps, or are these alien ships being fired upon by the US government's ground-based Star Wars Black Project developed beam weapons, or is it again a cleverly staged and orchestrated smokescreen involving several US government-produced saucers conveniently shooting quote, at each other in bright view from the shuttle window, just in time for the next congressional hearings or on Star Wars budget appropriations. Then we have a brilliant tape with Helga Morrow, the organizer of this conference here in Sedona, about the life story of her father, Professor Dr. Kuipers. About the fact that he went to the moon, to the inside of the moon, to Mars and to the inside of Mars with Philadelphia project type teleportation technology that was developed by the American government almost half a century ago. It's an incredible tape for anyone who is seriously interested into the Philadelphia project and the teleportation developments on the planet. Then we have two interviews with Al Bielek, the third and the second underground interviews. In the third interview, he speaks at length about the time tunnel, which is the third generation space travel. Basically, with a time tunnel, they can teleport, they can tunnel to any point in time and to any point in our universe in real time. With teleportation, they can do that from planet to planet, maybe to the nearest star, to the few nearest stars, provided they have a receiver station on the other end. Or without a receiver station, probably between the planets in our solar system, or from an orbiting ship to the surface of the planet. It doesn't work as far as the time tunnel does. So, on top of developing the Star Trek nuclear-powered craft that were built by the Rockefeller Foundations and some other private foundations on this planet, the next generation transportation that the Illuminati have ready up their sleeve, when in the future they would announce the nuclear-powered craft to the population. They would to have one level of a higher secret transportation technology that would allow them a competitive edge. And the time tunnel is the third grade, the third level above even the transportation technology. Then we have a tape on the close encounters of the Foo Fighter kind. Introduction to Nazi anti-gravity research and development in the 30s and 40s. And we talk in that film about 50 models of flying saucers with piston, Vankel, turbo, pulse, ramjet and rocket engines with spinning magnetic fields or powered by free energy. We talk about the exoatmospheric and space flight capabilities of these craft around Earth orbit, to the moon and to Mars, according to German documentary films. We also talk at length about the Nazi Antarctic underground base and Admiral Byrd's failed campaign against them. We have a film on the underground, on the Alternative 3 joint secret landing, saucer landing on Mars in 1952, May 22nd, 1952.
Was that 62 or 52?
I have a feeling that it was 52, not 62, because they landed with saucers much earlier than. In the film they claim they landed with rockets, but this is not a rocket landing, and we'll see why. We have a film, this is a lecture and seminar by Colonel Marina Popovich. She's a decorated military test pilot from the Soviet Union, from the Soviet Air Force. The film is titled UFO Glassness over Russia. In that film she talks about a crash-landed UFO that was brought down with a surface-to-air missile in the late 80s over Soviet Caucasus Mountain. And also a photograph of the giant mothership that was a shot that was taken from the Russian unmanned space probe Phobos when it approached the Martian moon Phobos. Very close to the moon, there was a giant 22-kilometer long mothership parked there by somebody, and the Russian probe took the picture before it vanished. Then we have a whole list of audio tapes available from the Graduate School of Conspiratology and the American Academy of Dissonant Sciences. Mainly these tapes are about the secret societies of the planet. A tape revealing the Freemasonry and the Masonic Lodge as the Illuminati fifth column on the planet, tape by Ron Carlson. Another tape on the Illuminati Council of Foreign Relations, exposed by Myron Fagan. This is a 3 LP record set of about 3-hour-long tape. The Illuminati infiltration of the American Secret Central Committee, or the Council of Foreign Relations, that runs the United States behind the scenes together with the Trilateral Commission. Another tape on the Trilateral Commission itself by J.C. Lewis, 90-minute long, which reveals that the Trilateral Commission is again an Illuminati outfit to speed up the coming of the one world government and the New World Order. An outfit created by and financed by Rockefeller after World War II. A very interesting tape by Anthony Sutton called The Order exposes Yale University's secret society, the 322, or the Skull and Bones, which is one of the secret Illuminati prep schools for the Golden Party youth, the future rulers of the country and the new united world, and the torchbearers of the illuminated enlightenment on the planet. And I wouldn't be amazed that, on top of everything else, this is also a quite well camouflaged satanic cult that operates on a university campus. I wouldn't be amazed, because a lot of the symbology of the Skull and Bones, including the very shape of the bones and the skull, are the same that they do on satanic rituals. And in symbology, nothing is coincidental.
The Grand Masters of the Freemasons and the Knights Templars both use skull and bones on their gravestones too.
It's a very good point. The Grand Masters of Freemasonry and the Knights Templars use the skull and bones, and so did the SS on their uniforms. It's a very good point that occurred here. Then we have a 3-hour-long tape, the terrestrial component of the alien presence on the secret Illuminati projects, launched to the public as the new and ultimate threat, the alien threat. After the collapse of the Russian bear, they urgently need a new threat. Oh boy, how urgently they need a new long-term threat. The Echo threat is the sister to the alien threat, the Mickey Mouse alien threat, and we'll talk about this in the lecture. But this tape covers basically 1 century of Illuminati super black research and development projects in anti-gravity, space flights, mind control, and human genetic engineering that have been conveniently covered up behind real alien visitations on the planet. Hundreds of races visit us each year, but behind that there is a very substantial illuminated component of terrestrial developments that it's very easy for them to explain away as all alien, being all alien. And in that tape we would make the claim that the little greys are the government-developed biological robots or cyborgs, the little Igors of the underground gulag of government Frankenstein factories, as Anthony Hilder calls them. And also we have a lot of papers. I wouldn't go through all of the papers. Basically, all of this material is very well represented in different papers. And now we can go on with our slide presentation. If we can turn on the projector, please. In the back, the button goes upward. On the back of the